Hello all, it's me, Mr. Witty, and I'm here to give you another video, and this time this video is about your portfolio. I want to just clarify some issues, make sure that you have a very clear understanding of what your portfolio is so that you can spend your final days at your co-op placement just ensuring that you're getting the things done that need to get done for this portfolio. So let's start with the portfolio requirements. You can see here it talks a little bit about how your portfolio will allow you the opportunity to showcase your experiences. That's what the main point is. It's just a way to reflect back, look at what you've done, talk a little bit about what you had done in the placement, and collect that all together in a project form. So what are your requirements? Well, starting off, it should be neatly arranged in some sort of professional portfolio, most preferably a binder, but if you don't have access to a binder, that's fine. It can be any kind of 3-ring or not 3-ring, well, most likely 3-ring, anything that can create some sort of a booklet. I wouldn't worry too much about this part here where it says it should be type double-spaced, 12-point font, have 1-inch margins. I'm not concerned so much about the margins and the font and all that kind of stuff, but I will say that you don't want to make something look like more than it is. The 12-point font is actually something I would stick to. You can go bigger for headings and things like that, but you don't need to go anything above 12-point font when you're doing any kind of project. It just looks like you're trying to make things bigger and more than they actually are. So you should also have some sort of title page with your document. You should also have a table of contents. Now, the table of contents for me would be the last thing I would do. It's the thing that you want to do at the very end of your project because you aren't going to know what the different pages are until you have finished putting everything in. So to try and create a table of contents at the beginning of your document is not going to do you very well because this table of contents should have page numbers associated with the pages that are in your document. So then getting into the actual portfolio. So you need to have an introduction, who you are, what course you are linked to for your co-op credit, and where your placement was. So whereabouts were you located for your placement? Next, you're going to talk about your initial goals. Now, we already did kind of a goal setting exercise early on in the year, and I believe one of the journals also referenced some of your goals. This is kind of more of the same, but it also talks a little bit about revisions. What changed about your goals over the time that you were in your co-op placement? How did, what you learned about co-op and about the workplace change maybe what your goals down the road are? Maybe you are more likely to do the job that you thought that you weren't going to do, or maybe you're less likely to do the job that you thought you wanted to go into. So what were your initial goals going into your co-op, and then what were some of the revisions? If you think differently now, what are those revisions? And if you don't think differently, why? What about your co-op placement kind of supported your goals or made your goals even more desirable, or you wanted to kind of further those goals? Okay, then next is your professional documents. So you must have a corrected cover letter, a revised resume, and a corrected thank you letter. Now let me talk a little bit about each one of these documents. First thing, your cover letter. Back at the beginning of the year, I know that you did a common cover letter. You worked in groups to do a cover letter, or you created a cover letter for a common job. This cover letter is going to be for as if you were applying to a job at your location, at the co-op placement that you were at. You're going to include a revised resume. You're going to revise your resume based on some of the feedback that we gave you for your resumes throughout the year. And then the last thing you're going to be doing is a thank you letter to your co-op placement supervisor. You're going to thank them for all the help that they gave you, thank them for everything that they provided for you. It's not an easy job being a co-op supervisor. It might seem like it, and it might seem like they're getting a bit of free labor maybe, which they are. But they've also put some effort into training you, into giving you what it is they think you need in order to do the job safely and correctly. So I want you to include a thank you letter for your supervisor. Next, section 6, you're going to be doing placement information. So I want you to provide a description of your placement and include the information that's listed below. So a company history, what are some of the key company policies, what are some of the products and services that that company produces, and what kind of an image or what kind of a reputation do they have. Number 7, the next section is your daily routine. And in this case, I want you to provide a description of what your daily routine was. What was it that you would be doing on a typical day? I know that in some cases you weren't necessarily doing the same thing every day, and that's great, that's what we want. But if you were to look at a typical day, what might that look like, specifically speaking or generally speaking? And then you're also going to provide a minimum of 3 artifacts with a description for each that shows how you've demonstrated this experience. So we're going to talk a little bit about that later when I show you the artifact summary sheet, which it refers to here on the assignment. But you're going to want to include 3 artifacts that help talk about your daily routine. That's kind of one of the big things that you're going to want to try to work on over the next couple of weeks that you are at your placement. You actually probably only have about a week left. But you're going to want to work on trying to get those artifacts and making sure that you have enough artifacts. So for this section, section 7, you need to have 3 artifacts. Number 8, the next section are your personal reactions to your placement. So I want you to describe what your personal reactions to the placement were. So look at those things listed below. What were your fears on the first day? How has the job made you feel satisfied? Have you had some good things? What are some of the tasks that you've learned? What things have you learned how to do that you maybe didn't know how to do before? And then finally, what were some of the frustrations that you've had? How were you, I know that in any co-op setting, in any workplace, there's always frustrations with whatever job you're being done, whether that be, interactions with other employees, whether it be interactions with the public, whether it be, doing the same thing over and over again, or whatever that might be. I want you to describe and talk a little bit about your frustrations. Next section, number 9, is skills. So I want you to highlight how your co-op experience has improved 3 work-related skills and include 1 artifact summary for each skill that shows how you've demonstrated each of those skills in your work setting. These are the work-related skills that were talked about in the curriculum document. And you've had to look at that curriculum document in order to do your PPLP. So, and you can see I've listed 4 of them there, and I think there are 6 or 7 in total. Okay, so now you're talking about a total of 6 artifacts that you're going to have to collect in order to demonstrate either your work-related skills and or your regular day experiences. And then the final section, section 10, is just a reflection. So this is kind of going to be your summary or your conclusion of your portfolio. And you're going to basically just reflect in general on your co-op experience. And it says here, include descriptions of both the positive and negative aspects of your placement. So you want to talk about, and it says, include at least 3 positive and 3 negative aspects. And then talk a little bit about how that's, how you've grown as an employee. And again, and I know that we're revisiting something that's already been done on the portfolio, but how has this changed maybe your future goals? Is there something that you think maybe now you want to do because you have done this and you understand? Or is there something that you don't want to do now because you've seen this and you don't want to really continue in that vein? So the reflection is your kind of opportunity to just kind of sum up everything that you've said in your portfolio, talk about some of the positive and negative aspects of your placement, and then talk a little bit about how you have grown as an employee and how your future goals are going to change because of it. And then the last thing is just making sure that you're making this look good. You want to display, you want that portfolio to look interesting, to look like something that people want to view. I know that the day that I wasn't there in November and December, Mr. Elsden showed you a good copy, what a good portfolio looks like. I will also have those portfolios available for you when you come back in. But you won't have a ton of time to complete your portfolio when you come back in, so I want you to make sure that you are finishing that portfolio while you're out at your placement. Now, we are not going to do the presentation part of the portfolio, so you can disregard the presentation part of the portfolio. We are going to do something slightly different, and I want you to stay tuned for what it is that we're going to be doing that's separate. The last thing I want to talk to you about, well, I guess the second last thing is looking at the artifact summary. So for every artifact that you choose to include, and again, remember, you must have 6 different artifacts, you should have a summary sheet. And this is what the summary sheet should look like. And artifact summary across the top, then what is the name of the artifact, what is the date that you received that artifact. So then you're also going to be doing a summary of what that artifact is, describe the artifact, why you chose it, and show how it provides evidence of either the skills that you're applying it to or the placement experiences that you had. And then obviously attach the artifact either below the outline, or if it's an artifact that is like a sheet by itself, like a pamphlet or a flyer or something like that, then just attach it to this sheet. So staple them together. Just make sure that it's pretty obvious which artifact is associated with which summary. So for every artifact, you need to have a summary. That's 6 different ones. Okay, and then you can have a look down here. This is how the portfolio is going to be evaluated. We're going to be looking at all of the different areas that you have done, and we're going to give you a mark based on that for a total of 115 marks. Again, please make sure that you are looking at this portfolio before you're moving and submitting your assignment. While you're working on your assignment, I would be looking at this rubric to kind of look and see, okay, have I done this? Yes, yes, yes. Have I done this? Yes, yes, yes. So that you're kind of evaluating as you go whether you've completed the assignment or not. Again, don't worry about the presentation. That's attached here as well, but we're not doing the presentation, so that's not something you need to be worried about. So anyways, that's the summative evaluation. That's what we're going to be doing. Again, just a reminder, there will not be a lot of time for you to complete the portfolio while you are in class. So you need to make sure that you are working through this over the next couple of weeks while you are at your placement as kind of homework for the course. Okay, so that's it. Hopefully you're enjoying your last couple of weeks at your placements, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Okay, thank you.